once we have confirmed it's safe for people to actually return to their spaces, we need to be able to plan what a spatial arrangement will look like. A key term many of you have likely heard regularly is the term social distancing, and I've referenced it a few times throughout this actual demonstration. So based on that, how can we actually use something such as Archibus to be able to visualize what it might look like or what social distancing practices might look like from an allocation standpoint? That's where we can use something such as the actual space console. So as the space console loads, I'm going to go and I'm going to pull up a building here. So I'm focusing on NCO5 because, as you've seen, there was a lot of reported cases there. So for this particular building, we can see that there's a variety of different workstations that have multiple people at each workstation here on the right-hand side. So not necessarily the greatest situation for practicing social distancing. What I can do is to go and make those informed decisions of how I'm going to change my occupancy is I can go and actually turn on my occupancy layer to assess which areas are occupiable to make informed decisions as to where people might need to move. In addition, I can use this view to actually edit my data to indicate which spaces are no longer going to be occupiable so we don't accidentally put someone where they shouldn't be. You'll see that once I turned on this occupancy highlight, there's some spaces at the very bottom here that have people but are now deemed unoccupiable. The other feature that you can leverage within Space Console and what we've done as part of the background data is the ability to add on different room categories and room types to be able to track COVID-19 cases within your organization. So I have created an actual room category of COVID-19, and based on that room category, whenever this category gets assigned to a space, those areas are no longer occupiable. I can then take this information a little bit deeper and then drill that down to the actual room type, whereby I can now visualize based on where we've had reports of COVID-19, how many of those spaces have actually been confirmed to be COVID-19, how many of those areas have been something such as sanitized, and which of those areas are suspect. This allows me to determine which occupants I need to move and where to not place people until an area has been cleared. The other thing is sometimes within our organization, employees won't have a dedicated workspace, rather they might be hoteling in. Again, using something such as the Space Console, you can identify which spaces are used for hoteling, and those ones are the ones outlined here in the purple, and then adjust them accordingly from an occupancy and Hotelible standpoint so that people won't be able to book them moving forward. If you don't manage your spaces that are Hotelible within the Space Console, that's totally fine, but rather the hoteling application, you can visualize which rooms are actually Hotelible by going into the Highlight Hotelible Room section and pulling up the floor plan associated with that space. So this would be the alternative view from what we had seen in the actual Space Console. We can then go and actually reconcile this data with something such as the Define Hotelible Rooms, where we can again go and pull up that exact building and the respective floor plan. And this allows us to actually go and do bulk upload to define whether a space is hotelable or not. So if I search on the ones that currently are, I can go and make a series of rooms in one fell swoop, no longer hotelable. To close, I wanted to cover some features that can be used to ensure our meeting space are safe too. So collaboration is key within organizations, and to remove meeting spaces altogether isn't necessarily feasible. So we do need to consider that procedures that can be implemented to facilitate shared spaces. So aside from reducing room occupancies, which we had already covered within Space Console, we can also use something such as room reservations to establish things such as automatically creating work requests for cleaning a room following a meeting. This is done by going into the room arrangement types. So for this one in particular, by selecting this meeting room, what I've done is I've added on the trade code of janitorial. That means anytime someone makes a request for a meeting room, it's going to automatically create a work request for janitorial services prior to and after that meeting has taken place. To ensure that there is enough time for our cleaning staff to actually go and perform their duties, we can also go and block off time on either side of the room booking. The other benefit that this adds at the end of the day is that it reduces the overlap of people when trying to switch between meetings. So by going into room arrangements and then choosing which room configuration and which room arrangement we're looking at, we can go and add what's referred to as these pre-block and these post-block minutes. So in this case, we've added 30 minutes on either side. While ultimately this will reduce the utilization of a meeting space, it's an easy way for us to manage collaborative areas in a safe manner.